Microphone's on.
Okay, Ms. Matias, we are live, we are recording, we are streaming. You may proceed with today's public review session.
Out into the screen. Oh, there we go. Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals review session for June 9th, 2025. We'll begin with the adjournments. Item number 1, 2024-14A, 23 Zarelli Court, Staten Island. Item number 2, 2024-23BZ, 334 Douglas Street, Brooklyn.
This will be the third adjournment request, and it will be the last one that the board will consider granting. And a dismissal warning letter needs to be sent out to the applicant and the property owner.
Postponements. Item number 3, 2024-52BZ, 1226 Avenue V, Brooklyn.
I also want to state that this is the third and the final adjournment, and a dismissal warning letter must be sent out to the applicant and the owners. And both of these dismissal warning letters should be certified.
Decision items. Item number 4, 764-56BZ, Volume 4. 205 Horace Harding Expressway, Queens.
Don't we have postponements to discuss?
Oh, 8305 is the other one.
You want to call it an order?
You want to call out an order?
Oh, you want to start with the decision item? That's okay.
Yeah.
Generally, we go with postponements and then do the decision.
Okay, we also have an additional postponement, which is item number 11, 8305BZ, 214 West Houston Street, also known as 58 Downing Street.
Did you also announce 202452?
What is it?
Yes, she did.
I did. I just did.
202452. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me to do it, and you said do a dismissal warning letter.
Okay.
Is your calendar wrong?
I think my calendar is wrong. I'm sorry.
I already did 3.
Oh,
Oh, in my
Yeah.
case, okay, my item 3 is different,
Okay,
but yes, same applies for Avenue V also.
right. And the next other postponement is 8305BZ, 214 West Houston Street and Downing Street. That's also being postponed. That's item number 11 on my calendar.
Right. And
It's an SOC new case.
and we will schedule this for July 16th or 17th, provided we receive a DOB objection.
Didn't you
by-
say June?
I thought you
Sorry,
said
June.
June.
Yeah, June
June
16th,
16th.
sorry. June 16th and 17th, provided we have the DOB
DOB
objection
objection. Yeah.
by tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Dar.
Thank you. Did you announce that Alice?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I mean remiss. Commissioner Shabeta is not attending today's review session nor hearing.
And Commissioner Otley Brown is joining us.
And Commissioner Otley Brown is joining us remotely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, to come back, decision items, item number 4, 764-56BZ, volumes 5, 205 Horace Harding Expressway, Queens.
Okay. So this is an extension of term, motion to approve a 10-year extension of term with condition that certificate of occupancy be obtained by November 30th, 2025.
Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
aye.
Commissioner Yoon. Aye. Application has been granted. Item number 5, 54869BZ, 107-10 Astoria Boulevard, Queens.
Okay, this is an extension of time upon further review of the submission that was made from April 29, that is. Though the letter states that 18 months would be required to obtain a certificate of occupancy, the timeline chart shows 21 months to obtain the certificate. So based on the chart, I'm going to make a motion to approve that we grant a 21-month extension of time to obtain certificate of occupancy from the date of the grant.
Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon. Aye. Application's been granted. 2022-95 BZ, 1249 Cedar Avenue, Brooklyn.
Unfortunately, we have to defer it. It's really an unfortunate situation that the property owner is facing. We hope it can get resolved, and we will schedule this for July hearing.
The July 14, 15
July
hearing.
14, 15 hearing,
So,
yeah.
Okay. Item number 7, 2023-12 BZ, 230-15 Merrick Boulevard, Queens.
Give me a second. Okay, so we received the canopy elevation, and it shows the 6-inch high continuous light shield. Commissioner Sheta, were you okay? This sheet supersedes the previous BSA sheet 012 and will be part of the approved plan. We only received that sheet separately, so please make that part of the approved set. We also received the DOT sign off, and the DOT condition is, I'm going to read out what the DOT conditions recommendations are, and then I will read out our approval based on everything that we have reviewed so far. So DOT is recommending following conditions. That is, applicant is required to submit the builder's pavement plan for DOT to review and approve. Under no circumstances shall motor vehicle queuing will be allowed to spill back onto Merrick Boulevard, including blockage of the sidewalk around the site because of the operational and safety concerns. And if these conditions fails to be met during operation of the facility, BSA in consultation with DOT and DOB will take action to revoke the approvals for the drive-through window and or the curb cut. Third one is applicant will be responsible for all costs associated with the design and site-related improvements. New York City DOT will participate in the review process relating to all future modifications, including and geometric alignment, sidewalk curb cuts, and pedestrian ramps. The applicant should submit all relevant materials such as drawings, designs as per New York City DOT specifications for New York City DOT review and approval. DOT is also requiring that deliveries and trash removals should be done during off-peak and non-operational hours to avoid any potential interference with vehicles accessing parking and drive-through. So with all that stated, that DOT is recommending as part of its review, as I stated earlier, that eating and drinking establishment is a permitted as-of-right use, and deliveries and trash pickup for as-of-right use should not be regulated by DOT conditions. So upon reading DOT's recommendations, I'm proposing the following modified conditions, which incorporates DOT's recommendations with modifications and additional recommendations. So first, I'll start with the modified recommendations of DOT. So my motion is to approve with the stated DOT conditions with the modifications regarding builder's pavement plan, vehicle queuing, and delivery and trash removal during off-peak hours. And those are: a builder's pavement plan shall be submitted for New York City DOT review and approval and built to DOT standard prior to obtaining a TCO. With regards to vehicle queuing, under no circumstances shall motor vehicle queues be allowed to spill back onto Merrick Boulevard, including blockage of the sidewalks around the site, and appropriate signage shall be erected and maintained advising of the same. If this condition fails to be met during operation of the facility and no other corrective measures can reasonably be implemented by the operator, BSA, in consultation with New York City DOT and DOB, and after providing the operator with advance written notice and opportunity to be heard, will take action to revoke the grant of the special permit. Applicant shall ensure that drive-through operation and other as-of-right operation on the site, including delivery and trash removal, shall not interfere with the drive-through peak periods. So in addition to that, these are the additional conditions I'm recommending. That is, proposed hours of operation shall be 9:30 a.m. to 12 a.m. Sundays through Thursdays, and 9:30 a.m. to 1 a.m. Fridays through Saturday. AVC shall be active at all times. Lighting shall be directed away from abutting residential use, and lumen spread shall be no more than 2-foot candle at the rear lot line. Canopy lighting shall be turned off or dimmed after operating hours. Access way shall be closed after business hours, and landscaping shall be provided and maintained pursuant to the approved plan. Is everybody okay with the modification and the additional recommendations?
Okay.
Okay.
So
Motion to approve.
Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 8, 2024-25 BZ 17 Grove Avenue, Staten Island.
Okay. So we did receive revised site plan with notes regarding environmental HVAC and E designation. We also have the Secra sign off. So the environmental conditions are that the applicant shall comply with and relevant with all relevant conditions associated with the E designation placed on the zoning map pursuant to section zoning resolution 11-15 of the New York City zoning resolution, and further hazardous material assessments shall be coordinated through the Mayor's Office of Environmental Remediation. Additional conditions that I'm proposing are loading zone placement, to be reviewed and approved by DOB. All easements shall be listed on the certificate of occupancy. Landscaping, fencing, and gates shall be installed as shown on the BSA approved plans. HVAC type shall comply with all applicable laws and regulations as determined by DOB and other relevant agencies. No certificate of occupancy shall thereafter be issued if the use is changed to a use listed in parking category A2, unless additional accessory off-street parking spaces sufficient to meet the requirements are provided on the site or within the permitted off-site radius. Is everybody okay with those conditions and recommendations? Yes. Okay, then motion to grant.
Motion to approve, Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 9, 2025-04 BZ 3718 138th Street, Queens.
Received the community board vote to approve, and we also received the revised plans and notes have been added. Did everybody have a chance to? Okay. Motion to approve.
Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application's been granted. New cases on the special order calendar, 10/16/84 BZ, Volume 3, 790 Coney Island Avenue, Brooklyn.
Received proof of initial filing and hearing notice. We have not received the community board vote on this. This is an application for a 10-year extension of term pursuant to zoning resolution section 11-411 of a previously approved variance for the operation of an auto repair shop with accessory use, which expired on July 30th, which will be expiring, on July 30th, 2025. So the applicant is requesting just the extension of time and states that the zoning law has not changed. And a compliance chart has been provided. According to that, except for keeping the front door closed while in operation, the chart indicates that it complies with all other board conditions. There is no change in the hours of operations. Signage, though, I did notice some extra flags and banners in front of the curb based on the photos that were submitted. Those need to be removed. Overall, the site seemed to be in good condition and there were no violations. I have no additional comments on this. Commissioner Otley Brown.
I have no additional comments on this either.
Thank you. Commissioner Sheta?
Thank you, Chair. I have nothing to add.
Thank you. Commissioner Yoon?
Sorry, I just want to make sure we're talking about 790 Coney Island?
Coney Island
Yes,
Avenue, yeah.
790 Coney
Okay.
Island, yes.
The only thing that I notice is that when you look at Google Maps, the business states that it's open 24 hours, and then recent reviews also discuss the nighttime team working. There's like a night shift that works from 8 till 4:30 in the morning. And the website also shows that you can make an appointment 24/7. And so we have clear conditions about hours of operation,
Right.
but it is in a CA2, at least the portion that fronts on the street. So I wanted to flag that because I noticed it on maps. I also noticed there's a photo provided by, I believe, well, I don't know who it's provided by, but it seems like spray painting is definitely happening there at the site. And that's a clear condition that it cannot happen unless there's a DEP permitted spray booth. So I wanted to see interior photographs that more clearly show the conditions inside and to
Okay.
make sure that the conditions inside actually match the previously approved plan. Because the photos that I found online do not seem to match the plan that we have that was previously approved.
Okay,
Okay. So clarify hours of operation, no spraying unless permit, and you want
And
interior photos
we want interior
matching.
photos.
Yeah, Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
Just to note for the board members, again, this application came in solely as an extension of time. No amendment, nor notices for an amendment were filed in the event that this application needs to be modified.
Term, Carlo.
so this is an extension of term pursuant to 11-411.
Correct.
But no
Term,
amendment.
sorry, I meant to say term, but there was no amendment. If in the event that they seek to change board conditions, that's something that should be discussed.
Yes, yes. So this, if any, they would have to do additional amendment.
Right.
If, yeah,
Correct.
clear.
Okay. Go.
Yeah.
2017-243 BZ, Volume 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Once again, item number 11, 8305 BZ, 214 West Houston Street is postponed till June 16th. Item number 12, 2017-243 BZ, Volume 3, 29-16 Francis Lewis Boulevard, Queens.
Okay. This is an extension of term. We received proof of initial filing and hearing notice, community board. We did receive a letter from the community board chair stating that community board has no objection to this extension of term. This was a previously approved variance, which permitted an automotive service station, and it will be expiring on December of 2025. So it is early. And we do have a CO that was issued in December of 2023. And pursuant to zoning resolution section 11-41, applicant represents that the zoning lot has not enlarged. I did not see,
No, nothing.
okay, I did not see a compliance chart.
On this one, complaints chart? Look for it. I
mm,
thought we,
maybe I should look through my notes, but I don't have it. No changes being proposed for the hours of operation and the signage with regards to lighting. The lumen spread analysis has not been provided, and since there are residential uses along the rear lot line, applicant needs to add a note to the plan that lumen spread shall not be more than 2-foot candle at the residential lot line. From the photos that's been provided, landscaping seems to be in good condition, though the decorative panel along the rear landscaping area is in need of improvement. So please do look into that. There is a trash enclosure. And overall, site appears to be in good condition based on the photos that's been provided. I do not have any documents regarding violations, so applicant at the hearing can give us an update. Commissioner Otley Brown.
This site is actually usually very clean and tidy. I really don't have any negative comments. I just have a question as to their signage versus what's in the resolution, which part of it might clearly be an error and what's listed in their paperwork. So the resolution says for Francis Lewis Boulevard, there should be a maximum of 50 square feet of illuminated signage and 0 square feet of illuminated signage. That's clearly an error. And then on 172nd Street, the resolution says a maximum of 42 square feet. Hold on one second, 42 square feet of illuminated signage, and then also 0 square feet of non-illuminated signage. And that is a discrepancy based on what's in their paperwork, which says on 172nd Street, there's 82 square feet total, of which 34 square feet is illuminated. So I think they need to just go back to the resolution, and if a correction needs to be made, request the correction and then also reconcile it with what's in their paperwork for the current extension of term.
That does generally, we try to limit the illuminated to no more, and the total cannot be more than 150. So, okay, yeah,
Right,
So we
simply because it's in the resolution.
yeah.
But other than that, I have no other comments because I think this site is always kept very neat and tidy.
That is true. Commissioner Shetta?
Thank you, Chair. I don't have like significant comments, but I haven't seen the term specified in the statement of facts. So if it's not, please specify the term requested, the extension, I mean.
This would, since this was a 1950 pre-61 and and it had at that time a 15-year term, so we will be doing a 10-year. It's basically a de facto a 10-year term.
Yeah, understood,
Yeah.
understood. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that the applicant should specify it,
Okay.
to clarify it.
Sure.
Also, I didn't see the violations addressed in the statement. The statement is very brief, so the violations are not like addressed there. And in addition to that, it's not just the luminous spread that's missing. It's the maneuverability plan also, it's missing. And the good thing is that previously approved plans included luminous spread and included maneuverability plan. So even if there is no change to like a plan from the previous, just put it with the like current set and you can copy and paste. But please provide these 2 plans with the current set, luminous spread and maneuverability plan. That's all what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Yoon?
I have no additional comments, but I did want to note that they have a document called List of Current Conditions that is a compliance chart from the 2022 resolution.
Oh,
I also had the same comment that Commissioner Otley Brown had, but I think that's been addressed.
okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you.
I just wanted to see something. Oh, okay, no. thanks. Okay, and next one? Okay. Item number 13, 2017-261 BZ, Volume 2, 527 East New York Avenue, Brooklyn.
A proof of initial filing and hearing notice is not required. It's an extension of time. Applicant is seeking a 4-year extension of time to complete construction and obtain a CO to develop a previously approved variance for a community facility, which will be expiring on October 2025. Back in 2021, board had granted a bulk variance for a community facility use at this site. The applicant states that the reason for the delay has been due to pandemic, and of course, many nonprofit institutions face the financial challenges. So those have been the factors. So far, they did submit some additional documents, and in that applicants have the institution has been fundraising and they've been working towards securing the financing. They have retained a general contractor. However, they do have to retain a new architect because the previous architect does not provide service. So, and they're requesting a 4-year extension of time. And of that, they estimate about 2 years will take to secure all the necessary approvals at DOB. And the remaining 2 years will go towards construction. So, so that would bring them to 4 years. So hopefully it can happen in that time frame. And I don't have any additional questions. And the applicant states there aren't any violations. Commissioner Otley Brown?
I also don't have any comments on this one.
Commissioner Shetta?
I have no comments. I believe the description, just the description of the item, it
Mhm.
says the 5-story and house of which.
Ah.
So I believe it should be house of worship.
It should be house of worship, not
Yeah.
a house of which.
Yeah.
Yes.
What? Cellar house.
The-
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't catch it.
We'll correct the lineup, sorry.
Catch the lineup. Oh my God, embarrassing. Okay. Oh, God.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Yoon?
Thank you. My only comment is the photos submitted are clearly a copy of the photos that were submitted in 2017. And when you're applying for an extension of time, you should be submitting photos that are recent, not from the original approval.
There was a submission with a letter that had 2 photos that was submitted into the file.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
There was a letter that was sent, and if you scroll down, there
Oh,
were
in the-
additional
and
photos
there's
that were
additional
provided.
photos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
I'm trying to find it now, but that's fine. It was
You
more
can-
just the principle, because I looked at the recent cyclomedia and the building, the existing building seems to still be there. I just think as a matter of principle, you shouldn't
Agree.
submit old.
Yeah, no, that's why I
Agree.
asked them for current
Oh,
photos,
okay,
yeah.
thank you. All right.
Plus
then-
also there was a violation that there was some facade work, I believe, that needed to be done. So,
Kind of hard to
Whatever.
see behind the giant cyber truck. right?
yeah, well,
Just kidding. I'm fine. I got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
appeals calendar, new cases, item number 14, 2024-48A, 12816 Hook Creek Boulevard, Queens.
Okay, we received proof of initial filing and hearing notice. We have not received a community board approval. This is an application for a GCL 35 to develop an as-of-right one-family home on the subject site that is located within the bed of a mapped but unbuilt portion of Hook Creek Boulevard. It's from the photo, from the map, it seems almost the entirety of the site falls within the bed of the map street bed. And and this is a corner lot, so it has frontage on Hook Creek and also on 128 Road. Since it is a corner lot with access to roadway and Hook Creek Boulevard is more than is more of an active travel road than 128 Road, I strongly will recommend that the applicant relocate the driveway and the curb cut to 128 Road. In response to project manager's comments regarding indicating the mapped width of Hook Creek, applicant marked up a survey indicating that we add up the mapped width. Now, when I did add up the different string dimensions as directed by the applicant, the map width of the street would be 90 foot, not including the eastern sidewalk width, whereas according to Zola, the mapped width is 80 feet. So so far, all the documents that have been submitted does not clearly indicate what is the mapped width of Hook Creek, what is the built width of Hook Creek, what is the curb to curb dimension of Hook Creek and the sidewalk dimensions of Hook Creek. Though it is shown on the plan, that is the only place where I was able to find that information and the built dimension of Hook Creek, but not the full dimension of Hook Creek. And so going forward, I'm going to ask that the applicant provide following set of information. This is something that should be there on the survey very clearly and should be carried into the site plan. I did not see it in the survey and definitely did not see it in the site plan. And this is a very basic set of information that the board needs when reviewing GCL 35. The map width of the street, the built width of the street bed, curb to curb, and the sidewalk width, existing road condition, that is it a two-way, one-way? Is there a parking on the curbside? Indicate all the traffic signs on the plan, hydrant, trees, utility poles, street lights, anything that would potentially affect the development in terms of where the curb cut should be, where it is being proposed. All of those need to be documented and provide clarification in the document regarding any easement that might be on this site. If there aren't any, that's fine. But if there is, even though I do recognize there are tax maps do show easement of the mapped street bed extension, street bed dimension, just clarify that that's what the easement is for. Because these documents, when they do go to the community board, when they do go to the other agencies, it is clear what those easements stand for, and rather than having to delay and asking for that information. Applicant did provide a map from the DCP portal regarding the capital improvement plan. And according to that map, it seems that there aren't any improvements in the immediate vicinity affecting the site. DEP also in its letter has informed that there are no new projects in the area. And in DEP review, actually, DEP asked for the easement that crosses the property. And this is where I believe this easement is because of the bed of the map street, and it's not related to utility easement. And the applicant should clarify that at the hearing. We have not received any comments from DOT, and fire department has no comment on this matter. Those are my statements. Commissioner Otley Brown.
I have no comments on this.
Thank you. Commissioner Shetta?
Thank you, Chair. I have no further comments.
Commissioner Yoon?
Thank you. My only comment was if we had any word from DOT. And it sounds like we don't, so.
No. Okay.
That's it. This concludes the review session for June 9th, 2025. We'll resume at
In 15 minutes?
in 15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen.
So we're at 35.
We're at 10:33, mine says.
Yeah. 10:50. 10:50. 0. 10:50. Follow happens to streets like Cook Creek Boulevard, which is right at the border of Queens and Suffolk County.
Wait, we're still recording.
Oh,
We're still recording.
Oh, that's split jurisdiction.
So who maintains it? Really? Like,
You can
Hey, good morning again, everyone. Ms. Matias, we are live, we are recording, and we are streaming. You may proceed with today's
Mic's on?
public hearing.
Mike's on?
Microphone's on, please.
Okay. Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals public hearing for June 9th, 2025. Please note for the record that Commissioner Shabeta will not be attending today's public hearing and that Commissioner Otley Brown is attending remotely. Special order calendar, new cases, 10-16-84 BZ, Volume 3, 790 Coney Island Avenue, Brooklyn.
This would be Frank Noriega.
Frank Noriega. Frank, you want to raise your hand? Or I guess join as a panelist.
Frank, I've given him the,
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, and I believe I'm joined by Wing, the architect, if he's available. If you want to swear us both in at the same time.
You're waiting for someone or I don't see him in the
Wayne?
list.
If he's not here, I can proceed without him. We were just speaking via email. I assumed he was on. But if he's not, I'm ready to go.
yeah, okay.
Okay, let me swear you in.
Sounds good.
Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
Okay, please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session.
Good morning. My name is Frank Noriega from Belkin Bird and Goldman. I'm here on behalf of the applicant and owner of this site. The site is at 790 Coney Island Avenue, and I think it was mentioned previously that the majority of the site is in a C8 district where this automotive service station is located. Is permitted as of right, but the real issue at this site is that the rear 20 to 30 feet of this building is within a residential district where it is not permitted and has been under the jurisdiction of this board since the 1920s, when this was a gas station, I believe, and has had to extend its term several times every decade to allow it to exist in its current condition. But by the way, good morning, Chair Janda and commissioners. Thank you for having me. And we did listen to the review session and heard the comments. Some of these things have already been discussed with the tenant, specifically with regards to the hours of operation. The tenant has been made aware that the hours have been set by the board and we're not seeking to change any of the conditions listed in the prior grant. So they have been made aware of that. I think some of the things like the Google hours just haven't been updated. Their website should be updated, but we will push them on that to make sure that that's clear that they are not going to be going beyond the hours that were previously approved by the board. With regards to the signage, we will have to ask them about the banners. I'm not actually sure how or if they have permits for those. Those are not DOB permits, and we're not demonstrating them on the plans because they're not a part of the building. They're not part of the zoning lot. We'll have to seek clarification from the tenant how those are permitted, and we'll get back to you on that portion of it. And to the best of our knowledge, go ahead.
They were by the curbside.
Yes, we're aware, and they show up in the photographs. They are banners. They're movable. They're certainly not permanent and fixed to the ground. I don't know if they take them in at night or if it makes a difference, but we'll see clarification as to how those are allowed from the tenant. And to the best of our knowledge, and including the owners, there is no spraying on site. They currently don't do body work on site, but they do want the ability in the future to have the small amount of spraying that is allowed in the prior grants. But we understand that they would have to get a spray booth installed and a DEP permit. But to the best of our knowledge, there is no spraying on site as of right now. And to clarify, this is not a modification or an amendment agreement, but there were slight modifications to the interior. I believe we did submit plans with that, with some bubbles, mostly with where the lifts are located and whatnot. They've been rearranged slightly. But we can demonstrate if we need to submit pictures that is the current layout. We're not seeking to enlarge the building in any way or extend further into the residential portion, which is the key issue, I believe, for this special permit or variance extension into the residential area.
So with regards to the hours of operation and the website being updated and that no spraying is happening, as Commissioner Yoon said, we do want to see the photos of the interior condition. Is the owner aware of these limitations, and is that built into the lease?
The owner is definitely aware. We have been making sure that the tenant is aware. I don't think they were originally aware, which was part of the problem. But that has been made clear since, well in advance of this hearing, with the submission when we were reviewing this previously. So they've been aware of it for some time.
So I need an affidavit, both from the owner and from the tenant, clearly confirming that the use will operate pursuant to the BSA condition, including the hours of operation that was stated in the prior BSA resolution, and that there is no spray booth related activities happening on the site.
Currently, but sorry, I just wanted to clarify, but they could if they get the DEP permit. Is that correct? Limited to the 2 courts that were allowed under the grant.
I believe the condition from the 2017 grant was no spray paint on the site or in the public way. So that was a condition. So if you're proposing to do a spray paint, and that for that you would need a spray booth, it would be an amendment of the prior grant.
I think 2017 says unless there's an exception for if a DEP approved.
Oh, it does say?
I'm trying,
Okay,
yeah, no.
I actually trying
paint spraying
to
of
pull
any
up the
kind.
resolution.
Yeah, let me share it really quick. Sorry to jump in here, but
No, I'm having difficulty opening up the things.
so this is the resolution. Application August 2016, 790 Coney Island Avenue, and then you see that no paint spraying of any kind whatsoever on the premises or on the public way in front of the premises shall be permitted in the absence of the installation of a spray booth approved by the
Okay,
DEP and the fire department.
okay.
Correct.
So, and is that something that you're working towards?
Again, to our knowledge, there is no spraying on site. We'll double check with the tenant. But we just wanted to make sure that it was clear that we had the option, or at least the tenant has the option to go forward with that if need be. But as of right now, to our knowledge, there is no spraying whatsoever going on site.
I'm gonna, while we're talking about this, I'm just gonna show what I had referenced earlier on the site, just so everyone's aware in case you haven't looked at the Google Maps. So Fix My Car is the auto repair shop at 790 Coney Island Avenue. And here is where you can clearly see it's open 24 hours, which I think is a pretty easy fix. So it seems like that should be something you guys should be able to fix prior to the next time we see you. The Fix My Car website, which is general, I mean, it's quite general. You can make an appointment at any hour of any day. So that's where, even though it lists certain hours, it's just contradictory. And then when you look at the photos, so the thing I was mentioning about the plan is that this appears to be looking at from the entrance, looking towards the back of the building. And that would be taken right here, I presume, because
Yeah,
the
the
lifts
frame machine.
are on your right side.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be some kind of wall behind the lifts in this photo.
Yeah, we'll have to double check, and we'll certainly submit photos of what the interior looks like as of today. I'm not sure who or when that photo, it looks like it was April 2024.
That's
My understanding is that the interior should look exactly how we're proposing it on the plans. But again, we can submit photographs documenting that.
Yeah.
this is the one I was saying. It looks like they're spraying in the.
Yeah,
So-
definitely.
So the affidavit, I suppose, is maybe the best way to.
If
go about that.
if this is inside a booth, I believe the resolution, the previous resolution,
But it doesn't seem like there is.
it doesn't seem, that's what I'm getting at. If
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is, it seems like there is a probability that they are complying if they obtain DEP approval for that booth.
But they
Right.
need an
But
enclosure.
if this is
because
not,
it's open.
definitely, they are in violation.
Of
with the
the
previous
prior
resolution.
grant.
Yeah,
So we need pictures around that, like that space.
And this is coming from the company's website, so that's not a very good
I
thing.
don't
Well,
think
this is
a
coming
problem.
from Google. This is submitted by, I'm not sure, who is submitting this.
Okay.
And
But
we,
that's on the Coney Island site?
this is on 790, this is associated with 790 Coney Island and appears to be the same space that's painted blue on the bottom, white on the top with masonry walls. So, based on what's available here, seems like there's a few issues with compliance.
Okay.
Understood. And yes, we'll work on the affidavit as well as getting photographs to make sure that that's not actually the case on site.
And if the photographs don't match the plans, then, yeah, anyway, you'll have to deal with that and
That's
figure
also
out what the
problematic.
plans need to be revised and if the thing needs to be amended.
Yeah, and if you're
Understood.
gonna provide some interior pictures, please provide a key plan for where the pictures were taken.
Yes, we'll have it formatted similar to what was submitted for the exterior photographs.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? We have not received a community board decision. Do you know if community board has scheduled a hearing on this? Have you reached out to the community board?
We submitted to them and we have not heard back from them. We followed up with them, but we have not had a request to meet with them at this time.
Okay. Please do reach out.
I can reach out again.
And project manager, please also reach out.
We did reach out to community.
You
board
already did that?
12, Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I'll tell you. Yeah, I emailed them on May 29th.
Okay.
And sent them our new form, but I have not received any. It's May 29th. I sent an email to them. I don't have anything. Let's see. No. Let's double
Okay.
check.
Let's go to the public.
Sorry, I was just checking. Sorry. The case that we're currently discussing is 101684BZ, Volume 3, 790 Coney Island Avenue, Brooklyn. Should you wish to comment on this case, dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you'll enter the Weber ID number 160-156-5702 and press the pound sign. At the prompt after that, you'll press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you will press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute as you're calling in, if you're calling in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is a little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you're recognized, you'll have 3 minutes in which to discuss. I'm waiting for the clock to run.
Okay. How much time, Mr. Noriega, you'll need to submit a revised set of information?
I
And-
don't believe this should take very long. Certainly the affidavit, we can get that very quickly. I think it's just a matter of making sure that we can get photographs done and formatted in the way that Commissioner Shedder wanted. So probably at least a couple weeks to do that.
Well, our next hearing will be in July.
I think that should
So-
be plenty of time.
July 14th, 15th, submission date would be June 26th. Can you make that?
We can make that.
Okay.
Oops, so. All right, no one raised their hands.
Okay.
Shoot, stop.
Thank you, Mr. Noriega.
Thank you
Okay,
very
but-
much.
Great.
Yeah.
Item number 12, 2017-243BZ, Volume 3, 2916 Francis Lewis Boulevard, Queens.
This would be.
Hiram.
Hiram. Let's see. Change to panelists.
Is Todd also joining? I don't know.
No, Todd is for the appeals case.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Mr. Rothkrug, is there anyone else from your team?
No, only me today. Thank you.
Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do, thank you.
Please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session.
Hiram Rothkrug, appearing for Vassalotti Associates. Good morning, everyone. We attended the executive session this morning. I'd first like to say that the chair wanted proof of no violations of the building department.
It's something.
I made a submission in between executive session and now to submit a BSA into Tony with a printout from the building department showing no violations.
Yeah, we received that. I received it and I forwarded it to the commissioners.
Okay. Also, we'll prepare a compliance chart that shouldn't take long to submit. I've already notified BP Maintenance Department about checking out the decorative panel along the rear lot line that Commissioner Otley Brown had mentioned. I'm not sure if you want a lumen spread plan. I don't know if we have one or if putting a note on the plan, as the chair had mentioned, will suffice.
I just want to. I'm having difficulty downloading it.
There is one in the previously approved step.
0.
There is a luminous spread.
Yeah, I'm not able to open the file. That's the problem I'm having.
The previously approved plans or the current ones?
None of the.
The
drawings.
previously approved ones.
I can share that. Mr. Rothkrug, I thought that I had noted that there was a compliance chart. Also in our files, list of current conditions. Or
Is that, okay, list of current condition, okay, I see.
I guess take a look, because it's only for the most recent resolution.
Okay, this is something that I've always been telling the applicants, that when they do list the compliance, it's not just the most recent one, it's everything
them.
from the initial grant, because some do get superseded, but some don't, and some get modified, so we need to see all of them. And yes, I do see the most recent one, and some of them are not applicable. Yes. Okay. So everything seems to be complying based on the most recent one. So please do confirm that if there are any compliance conditions from previous grants that are still on the books, on that the site is still complying with those prior conditions.
Okay. Do you still want to note on our plans about the lumen? You said.
So I just want to look at the site plan again.
So this is the
Yes,
old
right,
lumen
on the
plan.
screen.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is the previously approved one.
Right.
And there is, if you go back, look, yeah, the maneuverability plan is there too.
Yeah.
And these two are missing.
There's also a landscape plan. Let's see, what do we have on the current?
Can I just say one thing on this one? What are the uses around it? Radius diagram. It has street on, it's only one portion, and where the residential use is located, the building is kind of in the way. And then the next use is a commercial use. So I have a question. In this case, in light of the use and the way the building is situated, the residential building fronting on 172nd Street is situated. Do we need this level of lumen diagram, or could the note be sufficient to state that along the residential rear lot line, the no more than 2-foot candle shall be permitted along the lot line?
I would say since we have a plan previously, it's gonna take him probably like 15 minutes to take that.
I understand that. It is just, it may not take that long, but it's more of a larger practicality and of the rationale that we are asking this for.
Let me take a look at the book.
Got the Google Maps. This is the site here,
This is the along 178.
172nd Street, yeah.
Sorry,
And this is
sorry.
the residential.
171 Street. Oh, no, which is it? 172nd Street. I'm
72nd
sorry.
Street.
Yes. And there aren't any lights along this section. It's really on the frontage of Francis Lewis Boulevard is where there's a possibility of any spillover, but of and yeah, so I kind of, there's a commercial building along the front.
Isn't that one residential, the one in the brick one?
This here is, I believe, the
The store.
site. Yeah, the
This is the store.
convenience store on the site.
So actually this, the radius plan is helpful in that regard. It kind of gives a better idea of the placement. So, and there aren't any windows of the residential building that is a block.
If there are no windows, I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
I would say this is like one of those situations, yeah, that aerial view is helpful. And there's a high wall there and there aren't any. Can somebody, I'll just put the lumen. So there is one light pole, but that is more, that is abutting the commercial use, not the residential. And that is the only light pole along that residential lot, along that lot line, rear lot line. It would be, yeah, that one. So I feel comfortable not having to require lumen study, but having a note stating that along the residential lot line, along the rear lot line, the lumen spread shall be less than 2-foot candle. And that way we ensure that any spillover beyond that ought to be 0. Is Commissioner Sheta, are you?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it? Commissioner Yoon?
Yeah, I think that's fine. On your plan though, can you just make sure to add that light and all of the lights on this plan? And make a note, and so we have that carried over from the previous lumen plan.
Sure, no problem.
It's cold.
The last item the board had mentioned was a discrepancy between the signage on the last resolution and on our sign calculation form. So we'll look at that and try to rectify the situation so that everything is correct.
And, okay. Yes. And do indicate, as Commissioner Yoon said, all the light fixtures that are along the lot line. And the note should also say that, and all lights should be directed away from the residential use and to ensure that lighting level is no more than 2 foot. If needed, shielding and other devices shall be applied to maintain that level. We will send you a language.
Not a problem, Chair. We could have this all done and submitted for your hearing date in July if it's available.
All right, we'll get back to you, but if it's July 14th, it would be a June 26th hearing. But
Okay,
we'll have to just check the calendar.
June 26th submission date.
June 26th submission date.
Yeah, I think July 14th is fine. We could do July 20th.
Okay.
Yeah. My
It's not
computer is a
taking,
little slow, so it's not
Okay,
responding quickly.
okay. Public?
Yes, let's go to the public.
The case that we're currently discussing is 2017-243 BZ, Volume 3, 2916 Francis Lewis Boulevard, Queens. Should you wish to comment on this application, you may dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you will enter the webinar ID number 160-156-5702 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you will press star 9 to raise your hand, star 6 to unmute as you're calling in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already and wish to participate also, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you are recognized, you'll have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
And do provide the maneuverability plan that you must.
Absolutely.
So you want an updated maneuverability?
Yeah. yeah.
Okay, fine.
And the lighting note should be added. Yeah, and we will send the language because I want to incorporate 3 elements. Put no more than foot candle, lighting directed down and away from residential use, and that to ensure that the foot, it's retained at that level. Any additional shielding, other thing that would be required shall be provided. So those 3 elements need to be all incorporated into one note.
You're sending me the language, or I should?
We may have a standard language. We will send that to you.
Terrific, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, no one has raised their hands or called in.
Okay. So I have a question. Commissioners, do you feel comfortable about closing it? And we can schedule it for decision?
Okay,
Yes,
so the motion to close, Chair
Aye.
Shandu,
aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Item number 13, 2017-261 BZ, Volume 2, 527 East New York Avenue, Brooklyn.
This would be,
Ron Mandel.
Mr. Mandel, is there anyone else from your team?
Morning, Commissioners. Ron Mandel for the applicant.
Are you by yourself or is someone else in your team joining you?
There was someone else joining me as well. Zachary,
Zachary
Yes, I do see.
Rozicki?
Yeah.
Zachary, okay.
thanks.
Anyone else?
No, just the 2 of us.
Yes, I see Mr. Zachary.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, raise your right hands. Mr. Rozicki? Or whatever, raise your right hand. Can you hear me?
I don't think
can.
so.
No.
Zachary, can you hear us? Zachary, can you hear us?
Can't hear it.
So if I may, Commissioners, I can address any questions or comments that are raised by the board.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
Please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session.
Sure. My name is Ron Mandel from Belton, Bird and Goldman, here on behalf of the applicant.
Yeah, proceed.
Thank you, Commissioners. We attended the earlier review session. We understand that there were no comments or questions raised, and respectfully ask that the matter be closed and that the board vote on the proposed extension of time.
Yeah, I do not think we had any corrections. There was only one correction on our part. We will make sure that gets corrected at the next lineup.
Not a
Apology. Let's go to the public.
Wait for the screen. The case we're currently discussing is 2017-261BZ, Volume 2. Address is 527 East New York Avenue, Brooklyn. Should you wish to comment on this application, dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you'll enter the webinar ID number 16015655702 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt after that, you'll press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you're calling in on the phone. And if the Zoom room are ready, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you're recognized, you'll have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
Okay. We're just waiting for the clock to run out, Mr. Mandel, and my recommendation will be to close it and that we schedule it for decision for June 16th.
Thank you.
No one has raised their hands or called in.
Motion to close.
Chair Shonda?
Aye.
Whoops, wrong one. Sorry. Chair Shonda. Commissioner Otley Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon?
Aye.
Appeals calendar?
Thank you so much, commissioners. Have a good day.
Appeals calendar, new cases, item 14, 2024, 48A, 128, 16 Hook Creek Boulevard, Queens.
This would be Mr. Dale, and there's someone, Costanza Toro. Is that also part of Mr. Rothbrook's team?
Hi, good morning, Todd Dale for the applicant.
Is there anybody else from your team? Because I see somebody by the name of Costanza Toro.
I am not familiar with that individual. No.
Okay, right.
Maybe they're for tomorrow's cases. Okay, this is an appeals case, so you don't need to be sworn in. Please address state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session.
Sure, Todd Dale for the applicant. Did attend a review session and heard the comments, and I can speak to them now and follow up with written submission as required. First, just to clarify, the community board has a meeting scheduled this evening that we'll attend and we'll present to them, and if they have any comments, they can submit to the record. With respect to the question on the map width and dimensions, Chair, I just wanted to point out sort of some unusual situations with this site. You know, we are familiar with the normal dimensions that are requested by DEP and the board, and we endeavor to have them on the survey. This survey does include all of the dimensions from the lot line to the various utility lines and the widening. The issue that comes up here is that this is actually the very easternmost portion of New York City. So the other side of Hook Creek Boulevard is Nassau County, not New York City. And if you do look at the online street map, you'll see that it says Hook Creek Boulevard is greater than 80 feet. And it's listed as an irregular width. So the irregular width is noted on the survey. But the fact is, because of the unusual location and the fact that it does have an irregular mapped width, there is not a perfect even width as there would be for other mapped streets. So we did do the dimensions or included the dimensions that were pertinent on our side, but because of the location in Nassau County and also because the surveyor didn't really have right to access the properties on the other side, you know, we're not, it's not an intent not to show that information. It's just the fact that there is limited information and the fact that it is irregular. However, the survey does show all of the dimensions that DEP regularly requests, which include the widening and also the distance to the various utilities. I just wanted to provide some context as to why the Hook Creek Boulevard sites are a little bit unusual with respect to dimensions and information on the survey. The curb cut location, I know that's not really an issue, but I just wanted to address it. The architect did look at this because of the existing building on the lot to the west, and their curb cut is located right on their easternmost boundary. There's limitations as far as how.
Sorry, Mr. Dale, I think we're having a communication issue. The board's been trying to interject.
I have a question. Can you hear us, Mr. Dale?
He's muted now. Unmute.
What's going on here?
What the heck happened?
What happened?
All right, I'm on mute now.
Mr. Dale, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, so.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to clarify while Mr. Dale was speaking, as the board members were trying to interject, we could not, it was inaudible on outside of the board's room. So, but you can be heard now, so you may proceed.
Okay. I'll defer to you. Have a question. Okay.
I have a question, and since we don't get these kind of county borderline kind of situations, so I'm asking you to help me understand this. So when I looked at the Zola map, it shows the width of Hook Creek Boulevard is 80 feet. Now, is that 80 feet measured from the portion of Hook Creek that is within the city boundary line and then 80 feet?
Okay.
Or is it the entire width of Hook Creek?
All right. So the dimensions that's listed on Zola, which correspond to the online street map, which would need to, be confirmed or corroborated by the official street map, that is the width of Hook Creek from border to border. But I would note that if you look at it, it's not 80 feet. It says greater than 80 feet. There's a little greater than symbol in there.
Oh.
As opposed to, like, if you look for comparison, 128th Road, which is the other frontage, which says a clear 50 feet. And the reason that the greater than is used is because it's on a border and because it's an irregular width. And that's why the irregular width is listed on the survey. The survey actually lists Hook Creek Boulevard irregular width. And it is because it is a county border issue where you run into the situation where it says it's not on the official city map. So that's why, unlike other applications where we can include and show the direct, map width of Hook Creek, it has an irregular width. And it varies depending on where you're at. But more importantly, the pertinent dimensions, is especially reviewed by DEP, are for the property and the street that are 100% within, New York City boundaries. All those dimensions are listed, from the lot line to the various utility lines, and also the mapped width. And I think that is substantiated by the fact that it's my understanding DEP was satisfied with this application, which is, a key issue as to why we provide these dimensions.
So, so the dimensions that you had highlighted in blue, 30 foot is the width of the curb to curb dimension that is within the boundary of Queens, of Hook Creek, plus 15-foot sidewalk. And then how do I ascertain what is the width of the remaining portion of the street from 15 foot?
Okay. If I can share my screen, maybe I can point some things out and hopefully that'll clarify. So I'm going to share this. Let me go to my survey here. I think, can tell me, are you seeing the survey now with my highlights?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So first I tried to highlight here, but this, just to start, this dimension is the sidewalk width, which is 15 feet from the lot boundary to the sidewalk. This 7 feet, which is then added to the 15, shows from the curb to the highway drain. This 13 feet is from the curb to the combined sewer. This 24 feet is from the curb to the sewer line. And this 30 feet, which is the current improved width of Hook Creek Boulevard, is from curb to curb. Okay, and there's this 15 feet. As far as the encroachment, what the surveyor did, just because there's the irregularity, they have here 56.62 is the tax lot dimension, but this 45.05 is from this, which is the street widening, to the curb. Now, one thing I will acknowledge is that 45.05 is actually probably a little bit greater than maybe what this dimension is here, because if you, going back to my geometry, if you went, parallel and it went like this, I don't have the exact, but it might be a bit less than the 45, but they indicated its dimension to show the maximum encroachment into it. And then this would extend all the way up here. So those were all the pertinent dimensions. Now this side here, you'll see that it's indicated as an irregular width, and they did that because, as I said, this is Nassau County over here, and they're not necessarily sure where the irregular widths, and Hook Creek Boulevard does kind of curve, it's not even. We've done other sites on Hook Creek Boulevard where there's a bit of an irregular width. And so because of the map, but also because the surveyor didn't have the right to access these private property owners' sites, that's why the dimension maybe doesn't have like such a clear dimension. Whereas if we were even over here to the west, we would be able to give you a more clear dimension. So I just wanted to clarify.
How difficult is it for the surveyor to give you that measurement of the map width of Hook Creek that lies within the county?
You mean this red line right here, or just from here to here?
You can calculate it.
He can
I mean,
calculate.
He doesn't have
This is
to.
15 feet, 30 feet, and 45 feet. I would say it's 90 feet from here to the curb cut. As far as where this is right here, I guess I mean, I could ask, but the question that we get into is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure like where the lot lines are over here, because again, these lot lines, if I'm gonna switch here, I think you'll still be on the screen, right? You see the screen right here? If we're looking at Zola, you can see like when I highlight the land use, this is not the city anymore, right? So the question is, as far as finding the boundary, the short answer is or the longer answer is they might be able to go, but I think they would have to go to the Nassau County records to get that information. And how's this? It could be done. It's just between you and I, it's a step that New York City surveyors don't necessarily want to do, because they end up being involved with different, topo offices and have to go to the Nassau County, and it becomes a more involved process.
Chair, sorry.
I can't hear that. I'm sorry.
Can't hear you.
I'm going to stop sharing for a second.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can.
Okay.
If you go back to the surveyor, I don't think he needs to go back to the site and measure it. If he has the CAD for this, he can just calculate it to a good accuracy and put it on the road.
Yeah.
If I have CAD, I would give the dimension in like a minute.
So my question is, what dimension do you want? You want the dimension to across the far side of Hook Creek Boulevard?
Line that you marked.
So what I'm looking for is, I want to know what portion of the site is, if you map the mapped width of 80 plus whatever along that site of Hook Creek, how much of that is within, how much of the site is then within that mapped width of the street bed? That's really what I'm trying to see. And that dimension is what I want to see. So, and I didn't see it in the survey, and nor did I see that in the site plan. And I just want that for the record, because that's really what this action is all about. What portion of the site is within the GCL? And we need to have that very clearly documented. It's neither nor was it in the narrative, or in the survey and the site plan. So at least one of them, if they have it, that helps us understand that part of the question.
That's fine.
And the reason I'm also pushing for the site plan, the site access to be not from Hook Creek is, you have, in this case, you have the benefit of a corner lot and provide the curb cut from the other street and retain the curb along Hook Creek, which is a much more heavily used roadway compared to, I'm forgetting the street number, 213.
128.
Sorry, 128. I got all the numbers jumbled up. 128. So, and it's pretty standard in terms of the way the rest of the buildings are aligned on that block. So I don't think that should be an issue. And that also helps us in terms of, and the reason I was asking for that is, are there other utilities in there? Would that be an issue? And should it, just for simplicity?
I understand what you're saying. There are utility poles that are indicated on the survey at the corner, but the issue is that currently the building that's on the lot to the west, and maybe this was when I was speaking, they have their curb cut on their easternmost side. So this lot borders a curb cut. So there's limits as to how close the curb cut can be to that curb cut, but then there's also, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but there's limits to how close a curb cut can be to a corner. And when the architect looked at that, it created an awkward situation or an impossible situation of having a curb cut that would be compliant fronting on 128th. Whereas on Hook Creek, you don't have that issue. There's also other curb cuts for other buildings existing on Hook Creek Boulevard. And the other question that comes up is that it's not just a curb cut, but then it becomes a design of where you put the building. And the proposed building has it abutting the western line here because it is easier to design for zoning purposes to have the yards fronting on the corner lot, having it front a yard facing Hook Creek Boulevard and a yard facing 128th. So I understand what you're saying, but the issue was looked at, and because it's a corner lot, there's limitations on where the curb cut can be facing 128th. It's a better design for the building to have it on Hook Creek. And it's also a compliant design, and it doesn't require, any variance for the proposed location on Hook Creek Boulevard. So I do understand what you're saying, but because of the nature of the lot and where they want to locate the building and other zoning considerations, it is preferred and actually better designed to have it on Hook Creek Boulevard.
Can you, in your, in a cover letter, can you make these statements and clarify why it cannot be on 128 and why it needs to be on Hook Creek? It's more in terms from the compliancy point of view that you're saying is that there's an abutting curb cut and meeting if you have to maintain that minimum distance from the abutting curb cut, then the proposed curb cut on the subject side will be within 50 foot, which is again.
Yeah, maybe citing the zoning sections just to make sure that we're.
Yeah, just cite the zoning section to kind of walk us through why therefore you cannot locate it on 128 and why it has to be therefore on Hook Creek.
Not a problem. We can definitely give an explanation as to the thought that was given and why the location was chosen. And we can also add that dimension of the widening at an angle, which is the red line when I shared the screen. It's going to be approximately, as I said, probably 42 feet or something like that. The surveyor did show the maximum, but I understand why we want that. We can add that to the survey and the site plan.
Yeah. And it's more than the design of the building, because I think the building can be oriented. I'm not that convinced of the design. It's really the zoning regulations that is preventing you from providing a curb cut on 128th Street.
Sure. No, we can definitely include that information, but I would also just state for the record that no relief is sought with respect to the curb cuts and the curb cuts that are pros for compliance. And I just
exactly.
need to state that for the record. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. No problem. We can get those changes and submit them, I would say, fairly quickly. Oh, and also just briefly, there was discussion about the easement. The most recent submission, the notice of comments response, did clarify that the easement indication on the tax map is based on the tax map limitations of the Department of Finance. So we did address that in the cover letter.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? Let's go to the public.
Okay, the case that we're currently discussing is 2024-48A, 12816 Hook Creek Boulevard, Queens. Should you wish to comment on this case, dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you'll enter the Weber ID number 160-156-5702 and press the pound sign. Once you're permitted in, you'll press, sorry, at the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you will press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute as you're calling in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you are recognized, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
We are going to schedule this for July 14, 15.
June 26th submission.
Yeah, my question I think by that time, the community board should have voted. Is this going to be the full board or just the land use? Today's?
I honestly am not sure. We just received, no, let me check, just 1 second, and maybe I can give you a little bit more information on that.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
Let's see what they say as far as the meeting. Sorry, just 1 more second, we'll see. It's a committee meeting. But the one thing I would note is I don't know what Community Board 13's summer schedule is. And, you know, we're more than happy to meet and get any information. When we've met for them before, they haven't required us to be for full board, but I don't know what their full board meeting schedule is. I'm hopeful that they can just get a letter response in after this meeting to you. I'll get more information tonight.
Okay, yeah. Commissioners, I have a question. Do you want to close on this?
Do we not need anything from DOT?
We can, first of all, I think based on what I have seen on the information, I don't think there is any capital improvement plan. I was also looking at the community board needs thing. I didn't see anything pop up. But we can keep the record open for DOT to make its submission. And even if DOT does say that there is a capital improvement affecting it, we can, it would be, what is the language, General Counsel, you always state? You stated beautifully. Yeah.
Sorry.
Shall comply with it.
Right, okay.
It shall comply with underlying zoning as if the lot were not encumbered by the widening line.
But that's if DOT says there's no cap in plan? If there's no capital improvement, I mean, if there is a capital improvement.
If there is a capital improvement, then there's going to be a taking or
Yeah.
the premises will be subject to a
Right.
condemnation. So
The site would be then subject to condemnation. They can proceed with whatever they want to, but the site will be condemned.
They build at
eventually.
their own risk.
They build at their own risk.
Okay, so,
Understood. And I would just interject just quickly is that when the board has recently heard a couple of other Hook Creek Boulevard applications, there was a taking in this area for a DEP sewer improvement. That capital plan project was conducted and completed. So it's not expected that there would be any surprise capital plan that's not reflected in the information that was already put in the record.
But that was DEP, not DOT.
True, but if they were going to do a taking at that point, you know, I'm not sure what DOT would do differently than what DEP needed to do the taking.
And in this case, when you look at the map of the Hook Creek and the rest of the stretch of Hook Creek, a good part of Hook Creek is has buildings
Populated, so it's
kind of populated. So
I'm not suggesting that I think that there's a capital improvement, but the plan clearly states online when you enter the plan that nothing has been updated since 2023.
That is true. Yeah.
So to rely on that as the deciding factor of whether or not there's a capital improvement doesn't seem sufficient to me. But if we are able to provide an approval where they're clearly building at their own risk and DOT has the opportunity to comment on it and we're comfortable with that, then that's fine. But I just wanted to
Yeah.
be clear because it's very clearly stated that this is no
Yeah.
longer a reliable resource.
Yeah.
Is it possible if we get some clarification from the surveyor about the dimensions, especially the ones in Big
I
Fold,
know it's cold in here.
like the 56, 62, the 45, the 4505, the one at the bottom? It seems to be not from the curb like you mentioned, but it seems to be from the corner of the lot to the corner of the widening line intersection with the lot line, with the southern lot line. So, but when I look at this 45 and I look at the top one, 4218, they, on the drawings, they seem to be like same, that the street line and the widening line are parallel, so, and the top and the bottom lines are parallel. So this here seems to be like a parallelogram. That means that the 42 should be 45, unless I'm missing something. So just to avoid confusion, if he can clarify to us about these dimensions, where they are measured from, like put some leaders to like show where they are measured from, that would be helpful too on the survey.
No, I've already committed that we'll talk to the surveyor and we'll put on the surveyor on the site plan a widening that is perpendicular to the western border of the street line that's listed. I would just clarify quickly that, just to note, the 4218 that's listed at the top, that's the tax lot dimension and has nothing to do with the widening that extends into the lot to the west. So that's why that 4218 is different and maybe doesn't seem to correspond with the 45. But we'll the red line that I showed when I shared the screen, we will provide that dimension on the site plan and the survey.
Let me show you what. It was very slow today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about comparing this 45 to that 42.
But the 42 may be not,
The 42 is not to the dash line, it's to the solid line.
yeah.
That's
it's
the tax lot.
42 is to the solid line.
To here,
Yes.
yes, to this point.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I thought after looking at both of them, but if he can, like, if you look at the bottom one, the 45,
Well, the 45 in that is
It's
on the
from
lot
here.
line.
it's this, the 45 is just that. I
Right.
believe, because
Yeah.
there is a tick here and tick here, it's not to the curve like you indicated again. But it's just this. If he
Correct.
can put similar ticks here, that would be helpful too.
I think
The tick up to the top would be 4218. It's already, it's there because the tax lot is fully within the map street. No tick
Yes.
line is needed.
you look at the size of the lettering, 4218, 101, 40, these are the dimensions of the lot line.
Okay,
And the smaller numbers are more of those tick line dimensions. If I seem to read it, if you scroll down to the, so 56.62 is the dimension of that lot along 128.
yeah, 56 is from this point to that point. It's
Right.
It's
And
this.
so all the text, a larger text as the dimensions of the properties, and the smaller ones are the more specific which have been identified. like
Okay,
45. So
okay.
I'm okay with this. I think my question is more going forward, all of the GCL 35, they really should show what the width of the street bed is and then indicate the street, the lot width. And that way we have an understanding of what portion of the street bed is within.
So you're
encroaching on
looking at that line, that line perpendicular to this from that point, like this.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. That's all. So as I mentioned, almost entirety of the site is within the bed of the map street. All right, based on that, are we okay to close it or do you want to keep it open till July?
We can close it, and if we get something that requires us to reopen it, we can reopen it.
Okay, all right, let's do that.
Motion to close, Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
And we will schedule this for July 14th, 15th.
Understood. Great. And we'll get the submission in as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, the person who's Constanza Toro, if you didn't hear your case today, we do have another hearing tomorrow with several cases, so you may want to check in there.
Not several.
Um,
We only have 2 cases for tomorrow.
3.
oh, there's one that's canceled?
No, both got, okay.
There's 3 on my
Which one
list.
got canceled?
1679 63rd.
Right, 1679, 63rd.
Oh, that's right, I
has
apologize,
been
yes, you're correct.
adjourned.
That one's being adjourned.
The only one that is continuing is 295 Front Street
Yeah.
in Brooklyn and new case 2450 Eli Avenue in the Bronx.
So if you're here, those cases are on for
Oh, that's
tomorrow.
two?
The one for 1679 63rd Street is been
Oh, I
adjourned.
counted the canceled one.
Okay. Well, thank
Okay.
you all very much.
This concludes the public hearing for June 9th, 2025. Thank you one and all.
Thank you.
Mic's off.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.